Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Patronkast Plays Mortal Kombat 9. I'm your host, Razor. Shad has been playing the game. Smokeman's here too. And I believe this is our final episode of this LP?
It is. This is our last go-around with Mortal Kombat 9. After this, we're free. We're done.
Yeah. So the last thing we're going to do here is that Shad has gone through the game and recorded himself acquiring all of the arcade endings, and we're going to watch them and commentate on them.
Indeed.
And we're starting with one that you actually had to acquire from another source because this character is not in the PC version that you've been playing, and that's the PlayStation exclusive guest character Kratos, the God of War.
Yeah, we are starting with both guest characters because I don't particularly feel like ending this entire broadcast on a note of, I don't give a shit. So I'm just going to start that
fair.
right
That's
now,
fair.
and then we'll move on to better things and weirder things.
There is one little thing I enjoy in Kratos' ending, and we'll get to that in a moment here. Shall we get started?
By all means. Are we ready? Let's go.
All right. So let's fucking mosey.
The god of war had prevailed. The spell that had summoned him began to reverse itself. As he slowly faded from this place and time, Kratos was approached by Raiden and Fujin. Though he did not count them among his enemies, Kratos had never been beloved by these gods. He prepared for combat. To his surprise, they bowed to him. A show of respect he had not seen from an immortal in many an age. Raiden explained that though his motives were not pure, Kratos had saved a realm. He was owed a debt of gratitude.
Sorry, is it the first person being cut in half there, Sonya?
I think that was Johnny. There were some sunglasses flying.
Change of heart would perhaps prove
I thought I saw a green shirt.
a debt of gratitude is often dearly paid.
Well,
All right. So the thing that I was talking about earlier, the one thing I like is that Fujin appears in this ending. That's nice.
it's
Like,
nice
hey,
that
I remember him.
we're portraying our gods as nicer than other gods. It's weird to him. It's funny. Huh. Okay, I can use these tools.
I do think, so obviously this is the asshole Kratos from the first three games. The Norse duology had not occurred yet, and that version of Kratos is a much, let's say, friendlier character.
And you know why that is?
Because
Because
David
Raiden
Chaffee
and-
wasn't involved.
No, it's because Raiden and Fujin were nice to him.
Yeah, I think Norse Kratos would have been. He's met a few gods who are nice to him before. Not many, but enough.
This brings back a ton of memories for me. Like, if I had only known what was coming, if I'd known that guest characters were going to be the norm, I was so pissed off at this.
Oh, of course they were going to be the norm. Once you fucking open that Pandora's box, it doesn't get closed again.
Nope.
I think was there a guest character in Soul Calibur 3?
I don't remember, but I know that 2 had a bunch of
I
them,
don't-
like Link and Spawn
yeah,
and
2
Yoda.
Yeah, well, 2 had Link, Spawn, and Heihachi. Each one was exclusive to a different console. 3 might not have had one. 4 had the Star Wars characters, I believe. 5 had Assassin's Creed guy, I think. And 6 has the butt lady from Nier.
Is that her official name? The butt lady.
2B, that's her name.
Stands for two booty.
Yes. I don't know. She's a robot, but she has a fat ass for some reason. I don't know why a robot needs that, but I'm not arguing.
Is Soul Calibur 3 just called Soul Calibur 3, or?
I believe so. Yes.
I think they're all
Okay, I'm
called by
not
their
seeing
respective
anything.
numbers.
Yeah, they don't. Well, there are side games with subtitles, but the main line is just numbers.
Yeah, 2 has Link and Spawn
Yeah.
and Naihachi, and then it skips to
Yeah.
4.
So 3
For
is
guest
like
characters.
Soul Calibur is like the Soul Calibur 3 in specific is like the only time a series started having guest characters and then briefly went back to not having guest characters, but it clearly didn't last. Once you start doing them, that's it. It's over.
And look
Now,
where
that
we are
said,
today.
My favorite Soul Calibur 2 character is Link.
As it should be. I don't know, it's a nice ending for Kratos, I guess.
He was broke as fuck. He was the only guy who had projectiles.
I find it really, really weird that, like, if that was Sonya, or I think it was Johnny being hacked to pieces before Baraka there, I find it really weird that Johnny and Fujin would be so considerately bowing to him.
Raiden and Fujin.
That's
Well,
just
yeah, that's what
Raiden?
what I was wondering. 'Cause
Oh, God, I'm
it's
tired.
funny. Like they're like going, "Hey, you did a good job. Thanks for helping us out." And one of the people who died was on their side.
You did horrible things, but for the right reasons. We'll forgive you for killing our dudes.
Yeah, it's basically them just tiptoeing around him because they know if he gets angry, he'll fucking kill him.
Sad display. Shall we move on?
But my problem, I want to say one thing. My problem with Kratos in specific as a guest is that when he was put into the game, the defense that everybody who was pro guest characters would give was that Kratos fits the tone of Mortal Kombat, that he like doesn't feel intrusive amongst the other MK characters. And I heavily fucking disagree with that because he's so Greek.
Well, you see, if you murder someone, you belong in Mortal Kombat now. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, he's Gore Man, so he fits in with the rest of the Gore Men. That's what they meant.
That's all it is. We know it.
Like the Greek pantheon can't even exist in Earthrealm in the regular lore. That's not a thing. Zeus is Raiden. Zeus and Raiden can't exist as two different people at the same time, and Kratos is definitely not Raiden's son.
I don't even want to consider it. You're thinking
So,
about it
like-
more than they are, more than they ever have.
Well, yeah, that's the point, is that you can't say he fits into Mortal Kombat if you haven't actually thought about whether or not he fits into Mortal Kombat. It makes you sound like an idiot.
Man stab people, blood come out, put in game, guest character.
I would,
promote.
like, Nobody
Promote.
goes, "Oh, Freddy fits into Mortal Kombat." They just go, "Just have fun with it." I respect that more.
No, I remember it. I remember people going, Freddy fits into Mortal Kombat, and Jason fits into Mortal Kombat, and Ghostface fits into Mortal Kombat, and so does Leatherface, and
Yeah,
fucking
'cause
Leprechaun,
Gore.
and yeah, because of Gore.
But
That's all. That's
the
that's all.
Hey!
the arguments
don't
were
shit
different for
on
Kratos.
Leprechaun over there.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Leprechaun doesn't deserve that.
The-
You're right.
But the arguments were explicitly different when people would try to justify Kratos. Like, when people try to justify Freddy, it's just about fatalities, and they admit that. He's, horror characters fit into the killing game. But when they would try to explain why Kratos fits, they would talk about setting and tone, and that made them sound like idiots. We can move on now.
All right, time to see something else I don't give a shit about.
Oh no.
Yep, just getting it out of the way. All of it.
They call him Tater.
I call him Tater.
Freddy Krueger's
Boil him, mash him, stick him in a stew.
through Shao Kahn
They didn't fucking Robert England, man.
had been more than a match for the Emperor's dark
So,
Oh wait,
So
actually,
apparently-
there is something here worth talking about.
Nightwolf recognized him as an evil spirit.
Because this is the start of a theme in a couple of MK9 endings.
Back to the but that return to immortality. From the dream realm, he will again create a nightmare in Earthrealm.
Is that supposed to be Nancy? Or just some
guess.
rando?
I don't know. Well, as we're going to see in Nightwolf's ending, there's a running theme going on of Nightwolf fucks up. And that was instance
Yeah.
one.
I did notice that, the theme of Nightwolf fucks up in multiple endings. I don't know where they were going with that, why they came up with it.
So apparently someone was complaining it wasn't even Robert Englund. Apparently the reason why half of the reason why is because Robert Englund doesn't like selling his likeness out for things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So they're forced to use the remake. That's why Dead by Daylight still uses the remake Freddy, because Robert Englund just doesn't do that. He doesn't do like
The whoring out of
It's
his
my
image.
face.
likeness right shit.
Yeah, it's my face, and I'm not signing a contract that you can use it for as long as you fucking want.
Which
that's
really makes me
respectable.
wonder about that Fat Boys collaboration back in the day.
But yeah. So the reason Freddy has 2 gloves in this game is solely because Ed was traumatized by programming Drawman,
Yep.
Oh
and
my
now
god.
they'll do anything they can to avoid having a character with asymmetrical hands. But not Hellboy. Hellboy
Nope.
was fine.
Hey, we got over it, and I'm
And,
happy for them. Capcom solved this shit with Gil in Third Strike in '99.
Oh yeah, well they'll do, Geras, he can put the club on either hand, so because it just appears out of thin air, it's just a weapon he uses.
Yep. Do we have anything else to say, or can we move on?
I wish Mortal Kombat was made by good programmers.
I think it's interesting that they call it the Dream Realm in this ending,
Yeah.
where in the movies it's always called the Dream World.
Well,
and I think
they were just using, like, in Mortal Kombat terminology, you always use the word realm for
I
planet or
understand
world
that.
or whatever, but it did become an actual canon realm in the next game.
exactly that's where I was leading with that.
Yeah. All right. Fuck the guest. Who's
All
next?
right, thank you. All I'm saying, let's see. Who's next? It's Kano.
Oh boy, Kano.
Yeah, we're getting everyone's favorites out of the way right away. I like that punch to the face that knocked out some teeth. That was nice.
Kano made a fortune selling arms to Shao Kahn and used the profits to upgrade his cybernetics. The added connectivity of his eye implant gave him unparalleled access to global communications. Using his mind, he navigated the databases of banks, law enforcement agencies, and other networks. But his activities left him vulnerable to hackers. Jax infiltrated Kano's mind and trapped his consciousness in the Special Forces mainframe. It wasn't long, however, until Kano managed to free himself. His consciousness spread like a virus throughout the Special Forces network of automated weaponry. Kano has become a one-man army.
Good work, Jax. You made Skynet.
We are going to come back to that, though, in his ending afterwards.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
actually the Jax and Kano endings are connected.
But I figured we'd
That
start with the
ending's
MK1
fucking
characters.
stupid.
It's not great.
I feel like
You know
this
what?
wasn't
That
the
ending's
only
very,
time that
very fucking stupid.
I think that this isn't the only time that they did that. I feel like I remember this happening somewhere else.
No, there's a
It's
similar.
in versus DC, right?
Yeah, Jax's
Yeah, that was
ending in
it.
versus DC is almost exactly the same.
What if Kano was on the internet and we had to fight him and hunt him down?
Basically.
I don't know. It's not the most wretched of ideas I've heard, but it's not one of Kano's.
It would make more sense if it was like Sector's ending, you know?
Yeah,
It doesn't
exactly,
fit Kano.
exactly. Strangeness.
Mm-hmm.
We moving on?
Yeah.
And we're into Liu Kang.
Khan explode.
He did.
Having defeated Shao Kahn, Liu Kang believed he was the only one capable of
Why
defending
does he
the
explode?
Earthrealm against outside threats. During the invasion, Raiden had been more burden than ally.
It's true.
Recently, he demanded the
Not wrong.
Gods grant him the Thunder God status. In a one-match Mortal Kombat tournament, Liu Kang defeated
So not a tournament at all then.
mentor.
That's not how tournaments work at all.
No.
Liu Kang's
A one-match tournament is just one match.
he was made a god, the new protector of Earthrealm.
Okay, so first of all,
Familiar, isn't
there are I think there's at least one other ending that follows that same story. But in that
I
one,
think
like,
so it's Shang.
yeah,
right?
yeah, and Shang's Liu goes mad with power and it has to stop him.
Yep.
But like, if you don't do that part, if you just do Liu Kang's ending, I'm totally with Liu, like 100%.
Yep.
And the other thing is, this would be the first time they would tease the idea of Liu becoming a god, which he ends up doing in the main canon. But the costume in this ending is way better, in my opinion, than the ones he wears in 11 and 12.
Eminently. Absolutely eminently. Look at that. It's awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fucking great.
It is an alternate take on Raiden's gear. It's just a little bit redder. It's still got the shoulder
Yeah.
pads and shit. It's nice.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's basically Raiden in a Liu color scheme, but it really fits Liu. Like, it looks good on him.
Mm-hmm.
I've always dug the idea of Liu Kang becoming like the next god of Earthrealm in Raiden's place, and it works. I just wish they didn't feel
Yeah,
the
yeah,
need
like-
to, have him go corrupt with power, as Shang's ending indicates, and as has happened in
Or if
recent
they
games.
hadn't fucking tied it to Liu also becoming the creator of the universe who changes everyone's backstories. I just want this Liu Kang, but after Armageddon. You know, like, he has to fight Dark Raiden from Deception and Armageddon, and then he becomes the next protector of Earthrealm. That would be nice. That would, it would feel like natural character development, a progression of the status quo instead of a deletion of it. Anyway.
I could talk for 10 minutes about how I don't think that any return to the Midway timeline in this day and age it would be a good idea.
Well, not with these writers, no.
I think it's a matter for me of just appreciating what we had.
You'd have to give Mortal Kombat to a different studio where the people working on it are fans of the series and have passion for the characters instead of guys who are nearing retirement age who've been working on it their whole lives and are bored of it.
Next ending?
Or Dom Chiancholo, who's a completely for hire mercenary. Yes, next ending.
Made a god, the new protector of Earthrealm.
Went a little bit too far back. I've inserted a joke in here
how
somewhere.
could you?
Let's see if you can hear it.
Shao Kahn was gone, but the scars of the merging of realms remained. Remnants of the invasion force roamed freely and had to be dealt with. But Earthrealm is vast, and Raiden is but one being. He recruited 4 warriors, one for each direction of the wind, and had divided his soul, placing one part in each of them. Through these new heroes, Raiden can combat the forces of darkness in 4 places at once.
Well, that was weird.
No, yep, that's
Yeah, those aren't
certainly-
even. Those don't seem to have been any named characters.
It almost feels
Like, it
like
wasn't like you could go, oh, there's Johnny, there's Sonya, there's Jack. No, they were just randos.
It almost feels like a continuation of the theme of Kintaro's 4 magical swords from his Armageddon ending. Also,
Yeah.
it mentioned the power of the wind.
Yeah, that's an
He put the-
Armageddon ending. What
It
the
is.
fuck?
Yeah.
He put the power of the wind into these 4. That's not his jurisdiction. He's thunder and lightning dude, not wind.
No,
That's
no,
true.
no, no. It was to survey the different directions of the wind.
I
It's
see.
like a fancy way of saying
Means you're
it's
the Raiden of the North, and you're the Raiden of the South, you're the Raiden of the East, and you're the Raiden of the West.
All right, okay.
Which is a very sort of Chinese way to name gods. Like, they do have, like, this is the god of the East, and this is the god of the...
True.
Yeah. Directional, like, this is your territory, and that's his territory, and, like, you're only the water god for this river, and you're only the water god for that lake, and that kind of thing.
When you put it that way, it does seem a bit less silly. Thank you. Moving on.
As the last remnants of Shao Kahn disintegrated, Johnny felt strange, as if he had lost control of his body. Suddenly, powerful energy burst forth, destroying everything around him. Johnny saw the aid of Raiden and Nightwolf, but their efforts did nothing to stop these random spasms of destruction. Desperate, Raiden transported Johnny to Sado, the realm of order, where he could be taught to control his power. Johnny Cage will transform into a warrior powerful beyond mortal imagining.
I just really hope he doesn't keep that outfit.
Yeah, the outfit's not the greatest choice. It was nice seeing Saito.
It was.
I always really liked that ending.
It's not terrible. I think the proposal of Johnny, like, training under a place that will change his personality that much is probably not a great plan for a writer to try and introduce. Like, they couldn't have done it in canon because it would have, like, you'd have lost everything people love about Johnny.
If you're gonna send someone to Sado, I think it should be Striker.
The Johnny... Yeah. The Johnny of Order and Discipline is not the Johnny we're all looking for.
No.
We want the Johnny who yells his own name and tells you got caged.
That's his personality. It's what makes him fun. Plus, yeah, like, I really hope he never ever wears that outfit ever again. It's terrible. But, like, you can really see them here, like, planting the seeds to what would actually happen in MK10 with him, like, channeling his power and passing it to Cage. Like, they really made Johnny's powers a thing in 9 and X.
I mean, I've never had a problem with them giving more backstory to where the Green Shadows come from. I wish they'd do it in a way that's more elegantly dovetails with the original MK1 explanation of him, like, training with the wise masters of the Far East, quote unquote. But, like,
Well,
there are things that the NRS era has introduced to sort of give backstory to Johnny that I really like. For example, the picture of what's probably like his World War II era dad or grandfather that hangs up in Raiden's temple in MKX. I feel like that's sort of... And then there's, like, a line of dialogue in 11 about how his dad was an overbearing asshole who raised him to be a jerk. I sort of I have this picture in my head of like Johnny's dad was in the military and he came home from one of the wars, maybe one of the bad ones like Vietnam, with this like macho asshole attitude and was like, I'm gonna toughen you up, boy. We're gonna teach you how to fight. And that's how he got into the martial arts. But his martial arts teacher was Master Boyd, who's more of a Miyagi type nice guy. And so that sort of corrected his path.
I don't mind giving focus to Cage's powers and whatnot, but I've never been a fan of the whole god-killing lineage. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah, I think you need to make some changes to that, specifically because the first time I heard it in MK9, they hadn't introduced the part that it's like an instant win button against other gods yet. They said that they were trained to fight for the gods, not to beat God. So, like, the fact that Shinnok, it's like a hard counter to him, that's not the direction I would have gone. The direction I would have gone is, so in 9 they specifically call it a Mediterranean cult, and you never use the word cult for good religions, okay? So I always imagined that he would have secretly found out that the Mediterranean cult were worshippers of Shinnok, like they followed quote-unquote Hades back in the days of ancient Greece. And so, like, the green shadows being you tapping into the spirits of your ancestors, because that's what Nightwolf is doing when he has green shadows. And when Shao Kahn has green shadows, he's using his stolen souls for power.
Right, I dig that.
As a strength and speed buff. So I imagine that the Johnny's ancestors, whose souls he's drawing on to get that green shadow buff, are actually in the Nether Realm. And that Shinnok would have an advantage that he could like disable Johnny's powers or try to corrupt and mind control Johnny as like a mole on Raiden's team that Johnny doesn't even, like a Manchurian Candidate thing. That's what I would have done with it. Because that would also explain why they turn red when he's like exceptionally angry. Or like when he EXs the moves, putting more like emotion into it, more power behind it. They're red, and red is like an evil color, so it would make sense if that was coming from the Nether Realm.
I mean, it could be a color of just energy and just faster, harder charged. I don't necessarily see it as evil.
Yeah, well, but for example, when you're using possessed Kenshi, the ghosts that are in the sword are red instead of blue because they're more angry and out of control. Glowing red is associated with negative emotion already when it comes to souls in Mortal Kombat. So
what you're telling me is that all the X-Wings are channeling evil energy and the TIE Fighters are actually good.
That's Empire propaganda. They decided what colors the lasers were, and they're the ones who control the companies that sell the laser guns.
Of course, I see.
Yeah.
All right. Scorpion?
Yeah, Scorpion.
No, not Scorpion.
Oh, too goddamn bad.
Right there. He's been on the screen the whole time.
No. Skip to the next one.
No. Scorpion. There's a theme going. I want to see if you guys catch it.
All right.
That after image. He's still up there.
Shao Kahn's death did nothing to relieve Scorpion's pain. The loss of his kin still weighed heavily upon him. For reasons he could neither explain nor understand, he was drawn to the home of the Shirai Ryu. Standing amid the rubble in solemn contemplation, Scorpion was visited by apparitions of his fallen comrades, who revealed the true mastermind behind their brutal deaths. Enraged, he returned to the Netherrealm. As the spirits of his kin immobilized Quan Chi, Scorpion slew him, finally avenging their deaths.
Right in the dick.
I like you could tell which ghost is his wife because she's still wearing a rose in her hair.
That guy
Like all
on
these souls in this one blotch of red.
that one guy on the right with a really creepy open mouth kind of gets me. They did a good job of making him look all spectral and creepy.
So, I particularly like this ending because, for one thing, Scorpion having a way to find out Quan Chi did it without Quan Chi himself just being the one to tell him to his face, like he does in MK4, it works a lot better. So I wish this was the way it would happen in canon. The other thing is, I think this one reveals that Quan Chi, the way he killed the Shirai Ryu was by setting the village on fire. Because obviously, like, the vision he showed that had a whole Lin Kuei army there,
there was also
Quan
fire.
Chi did not take the Lin Kuei with him in canon.
There was
That's
fire.
not how he did it.
There were some archers and some flaming bows and shit in that vision. You don't think so?
Yeah, but we know that the vision was made up because in the vision, Sub-Zero is there, and Sub-Zero wasn't there.
Well,
and Quan Chi doesn't actually shapeshift. Like, that's how they do it whenever they adapt it in, like, Legacy and Scorpion's Revenge. They always show that Quan Chi has shapeshifting powers, like, to make himself look like Sub-Zero. He can't do that. That's not one of his powers.
Well,
the whole vision has to be an illusion he created to fool Scorpion. And we know in mythologies, Quan Chi did it alone. He didn't take any Lin Kuei with him.
We've had this conversation over and over a couple of times, I think, and I've always been of the opinion.
We've talked about this on the Discord.
I've always been of the opinion that, like, I'm not opposed to the idea of him doing it alone, but I just think that it makes a lot more sense if he turns himself into Sub-Zero and leads an attack using the Lin Kuei as well. I really don't like the idea of him soloing an entire village. That's why this is why people power scale, man. It's dumb.
No, I don't care about that. Here's what I care about is that factually we know that Quan Chi can't shapeshift and he can't use other people's moves. He cannot freeze people. So the idea that he was able to pretend to be Sub-Zero doesn't fly.
But you can pretend to be someone else in multiple ways. You don't have to shapeshift. You can cast illusions. There's different ways of going about it.
An illusion can't make ice. Okay? So the other thing is, if an army of Lin Kuei led by Sub-Zero or someone pretending to be Sub-Zero and imitating all of Sub-Zero's powers could have killed the Shirai Ryu in a single night, then why even bother hiring Quan Chi to do it? Why not just do it yourself?
I mean, Quan Chi is a major tipping point, but I don't want to fucking argue back or forth about how we think Quan Chi killed a village. I want to talk about the goddamn ending. It's a good ending.
All right.
I like it.
I mean, I think that ending should have happened in canon. That's all I'm saying. Like,
I do, but I think the actual problem. Good. I think the actual problem is that, like, you have to find a way for that to work. Like, why hasn't why hasn't it happened at any given point? Is the problem.
That's the issue. Why has Scorpion never just gone back to the ruins of the village and seen them for himself? That actually doesn't make sense. So the fact that it happens in a non-canon ending but has never happened in an actual game is stupid.
Indeed. Next up.
Yeah.
Want to take a guess who it is?
Is it Sub-Zero?
It is.
Sub-Zero. Wow.
Is the order going by the MK1 select screen?
It is not.
That's what I thought too, and I double checked.
And yeah, we've in Johnny, Kano, Raiden, Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. Like, not in that exact order, but
think about the exact order.
After the victory over
is this in alphabetical order?
No.
No, it's definitely all MK1 characters so far.
Right, but
is it by the order their names are said in the theme song?
Yes.
Okay. It's
God
a
damn
techno
it.
syndrome.
It's Techno Syndrome! I was wondering if you guys were gonna... I should have hinted. I should have seen if you guys just got it alone, but... Might have been too... I don't know.
Once justice had been done,
Anyway.
Sub-Zero and Scorpion
Ah.
disappeared into legend, emerging from obscurity only to avenge the innocent.
Wait for it.
The forces of
Yeah.
darkness will never stop this deadly alliance.
God damn it.
Wow.
They sure do love
Look.
saying the thing, don't they?
Yeah, they fucking do. Now, I want to say, like, the actual content of the ending, I am a fan of Hanzo Hazashi and Kuai Liang team up.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I am so fucking sick of them just looking for places to drop the phrase Deadly Alliance. Like, it's like, it's a empty fucking member berry. It's like you're trying to sell me Funko Pops. It's so goddamn disgusting. I'm tired of.
I just,
I'm tired in general. It's a tired that sleep won't fix.
I just want to say that I really love the image of them back to back firing beams of ice and fire. I really wish that would actually happen in MK3 when they actually team up for the first time.
Well,
That would have been nice to see in an ending, yes.
the only person who's going to show you that is you by commissioning an artist to draw it
True.
for the purposes of our fan fiction.
True.
Because no one else is going to put any effort into depicting the old timeline.
Want to hear a story? What I did the other day?
No. Go
Well, too
ahead.
bad I'm telling you.
Okay.
Went to the convenience store,
All right.
bought some peanut butter, bought some Nutella. Before I'd even paid for them, I just tore them both open, grabbed a spoonful of one, shoved it in the other, and just looked the guy in the eye and went, "Nothing can stop this deadly alliance."
Okay.
I do it all the time now. This game's fucking ruined me.
All right. Well, establishing your dominance over the convenience store man is very important. I can't discourage that behavior.
All right.
I feel like it might be easier if you simply T-posed at him, but what you're doing works too.
It is a good ending, and it really is kind of surprising, honestly, that it took until X to actually see them working together in any conceivable way. And for all of Eleven's faults, I am glad that it finally gave us that. A little bit of them side by side after so long. That was cool.
Well, I would like to think that, like, if the MK4 endings were made in a time where they had more time and budget, that instead of Sub-Zero lying beaten on the ground and Scorpion just charging at him while being sucked into a teleport, we would have gotten a 2-on-1 fight scene. That's what I'd like to believe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Next up.
All right, so Sonia's the only one left.
Correct. After this, it was at my discretion.
Mm-hmm.
The loss of friends and allies during the battle with Shao Kahn took its toll on Sonya Blade's sanity. She left the Special Forces and went into seclusion to cope with her grief. But her solitude was brief, as she found herself regularly visited by an apparition who claimed to be her missing father. With her father as a guide, Sonya embarked on a mission to exterminate what remained of Shao Kahn's army.
Hey, look at that portal in the sky over top of a city.
What about it?
Sure was absent from story mode, wasn't it?
Little bit. Also, apparently
So-
Shao Kahn left a lot of stuff behind him after this all happened.
Yeah. A running theme in a lot of these endings was even though the invasion is over, there's still fucking Tarkatans everywhere. They didn't really do anything with that in MKX, did they?
No, not even a little.
So there's something about this ending that I want to talk about, and it's that there are several characters in this game who got new information about them introduced in their bios and endings, and that information appears nowhere in the actual story mode. In Sonia's case, it's that she's motivated. The reason she joined the special forces in the first place was to find out what happened to her father, who was an army soldier who went mysteriously missing, and it's implied that it had to do with investigating the Black Dragon gang. So her father being a ghost that haunts her now out of nowhere, I don't know where that came from. I don't know what it's supposed to imply. You know what's interesting is that this game and MKX were both written by the same writing team, primarily Brian Shard. And her MKX ending also introduces something new about Sonya, where she suddenly gets the power to have prophetic visions of the future. Once again, appears nowhere in story mode and is not followed up on at all in the canon anywhere. Just another non-canon arcade ending. But I'd love to know where he thought he was going with it, you know? Like, who killed her dad? Why is her dad a ghost that's haunting her? Is it even really her dad? Because the ending did suspiciously say a ghost who claimed to be her dead father. And I'd also like to point out that her father wasn't even dead in the old timeline, at least not according to her MK1 bio. She had a twin brother who died, but her dad was not listed as deceased. He was listed as Major Herman Blade, so she did join the army because her dad was in the army. And there are other games in the NRS era, especially 11, who talk about the reason she joined was her dad. But the mysterious death and the haunting and the possible superpowers that may come from that have nothing to do with anything, come out of nowhere, and are never used again.
I think it's actually a goddamn shame because I like the whole idea of like her dad having, I don't know, maybe investigated Outworld at some point in the past and maybe found his way to Shang Tsung's island, saw too much, died there, got stuck between realms, some shit like that. It would be nice for her to have a personal stake in all this Outworld stuff. I think it's a pretty good idea, and it's a goddamn shame that it never appeared anywhere else ever. It's like, it's Sonya Blade's great lost thread for me. I would like to know more about it. I thought it was a good idea.
Well, I like the idea that maybe her dad was killed investigating the Black Dragons. I wouldn't necessarily go with the magic and knowledge of Outworld angle, because I feel like that's a little bit too
fanficky.
It's a little everything tied together too much makes the world smaller. It's like, hey, did you know Boba Fett was around in the prequels? And it's like, I didn't need to know his backstory, man. Not everybody has to be everywhere all the time.
Yeah, well, I didn't.
But I like the idea of actually exploring like who Sonya's dad was and how he was her role model, and that's why she joined. And I'd like the idea of like maybe, you know, when Major Herman Blade was a soldier, he was the head of the special forces, and Jax was, you know, his underling, the way that Sonya is Jax's underling. So Jax is like, well, your dad looked out for me when I was your age, so I'm going to look out for you. I think that would make it more interesting.
All right, next up. Man, my PC lags like shit whenever I start this video back up.
It's fine.
As long as you guys don't see it.
You know, we never did get to look at this retro Shang outfit mod when we were playing the Challenge Tower.
No, I was using the MK3 one instead. This is good, isn't it?
Hey, look at how he actually steals his soul in the animation there.
Overwhelmed by his newfound sorcery, he fled to Outworld. Moments before suicide, Shang Tsung was visited by Boraicho. The
Look at what it
military
is.
warriors offered to teach him
Look at that reused asset from Deception back
I've seen that exact same image elsewhere.
become a god,
Oh yeah, that's cut straight out of his bio picture.
Yep.
transforming him into a tyrant. He
There it
had to
is.
be stopped.
Unfortunate.
After rigorous training, Shang
That's the
Tsung
same one.
mastered the
That's the same picture back there.
Facial
His
angle's
head's turned
different.
slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they
It's
they
clever
used it
trickery.
as tracing. They used it as a source to trace over. They painted it a little bit.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's all right.
A lot of
I
people
kind
have
of,
this.
I am amused by the idea of if Liu goes bad, then Shang must go good because they must always oppose each other.
A lot of people really like their redemption arcs for Mortal Kombat characters, and I can get it with certain people. Like, I could believe in,
Yeah,
it really depends. But not with Shang. I can never buy
No,
it
I
with
don't-
Shang ever.
I would not actually ever go for a Shang redemption angle. I don't think he would work as a good guy. He's done too much awful
I think
shit to make up for
I
it.
think there's
But-
a very strange thing these days where people just slurp up any redemption arc of anything,
They watch too much
and
anime.
it's entirely it's anime brain rot, and it's fucking awful.
You see,
think it has
the
to do
kids,
with- I
the kids are doing the Naruto runs through the hallways at the high schools and listening to the rap music. Sorry.
I think that problem is specifically attached to the attractiveness of the character. They want redemption arcs for the ones that they're horny for.
I don't like to consider
I
the
don't
possibility
know
that
if-
people are horny for Noob Saibot, and I would like to abandon this conversation in its entirety.
Oh, I guarantee you there's quote unquote sexy fan art of Bihan.
Yeah,
out
there
It
is.
exists for sure.
Yeah, there definitely
Especially the
is.
12 version, because you see his face. But
11 version.
I want to go back to World
no,
Touring Street Fighter
I said
6.
Bihan.
I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, not the fucking no-nose, withered ass ring wraith noob.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea. There probably is some of that too.
But it's more common for the one who's conventionally attractive. They want to see him restored so that he can have a hot face again.
I've never known anyone in
anyway.
my life to be horny for Shang Tsung, and I really hope never to. I'm sure that's a thing with the new game and all that, because the guy's all smooth shaven and young looking. I don't care. I do not care.
I think Conquest Shang and probably Carrie back in '95 when he was still youngish.
I'm not saying that he's not a good looking person, but I can't imagine.
The problem is, I like the idea of exploring Shang's backstory and motivations. I like the idea that, this guy originally came from Earthrealm and was trained to fight on the good side in the Mortal Kombat tournament. And then he was corrupted and seduced to the dark side by power. Which means that there was a failing, a breakdown of communication between him and Boraicho and Raiden somewhere in the past, that he's got bad blood with those two from back when they were on the same side. I would love to see that. I don't think you can go back and mend those fences and turn Shang good again. I don't think that would ever feel right as a story.
Same.
But I can also imagine, there's a point in 11 Aftermath where Shang is fighting with the good guys, and none of the good guys trust him because he's Shang, and they shouldn't trust him. They should be waiting for the point where he turns on them, because he inevitably will. But the idea of the good guys and the bad guys working together because there's a worse bad guy and they don't want to die, that can be fun.
Maybe. Just maybe.
So I did like that aspect of Aftermath, and I do think you can do that kind of thing with Shang, but he must eventually try to twist things to his own ends and take the power for himself.
I mean, that is the best part of Aftermath, is just seeing him smiling politely the entire way through, because he's Shang Tsung. He's being Shang Tsung. They know he's being Shang Tsung. They're still working with Shang Tsung, knowing he's Shang Tsung. And what happens at the end?
Yeah.
Shang Tsung.
The entire time they're waiting for him to pull a Shang.
He knows. He knows that you know. He wants you to know that he wants you to know. It's magic. Next up.
Ah, yes, Reptile. He was in MK1, it's true.
He was. I tried to do these very logically.
That was a hell of a jump kick.
It was. He still got that eye glitch,
Okay,
though,
but why he
unfortunately.
explode, though? Why he explode, though?
Why the
Because he got
MK2
beat
can't
up.
explode?
That's what happens to people.
Is it?
Is it?
Is there a problem? We seem to be frozen.
I'm sorry, he still has that eye glitch going on.
Nobody cares.
By all, he forced Shang Tsung to regenerate his raptor race. The process took agonizing
Ew, his
What is-
face.
Does he have to make them one rib at a time? Why is it cut open?
It's like he's making fine-tuning and adjustments.
Is that how torsos work?
Did he do each of these one by one, I wonder? That's why people have cloning pods.
I do like this very slow animation of the acid melting the Tarkatan.
It looks a little bit better than Johnny's orb, like, going back and forth between spongy hands. And I'm gonna say it. I really like that ending for Reptile. I like it a ton.
It's very basic, but it's also like what you would expect from a Reptile ending of, oh, you know
You know what I
bring back my race.
You know what I expect from a Reptile ending? Bring back my race. Oh no, my face is being pushed in. Well, for once,
bring back my race. I'm not gonna bring back your race. I'm gonna kill you. That's what you usually get in a Reptile.
For once, it didn't happen, and I'm glad to see it. I'm really happy for the guy. I almost wish it had happened.
I wish that Shang Tsung said, "I'm not a sorcerer of my word, Reptile.
Yeah.
All deals are off."
Yeah, I wish Shang just killed him. That'd be funnier.
I just... Give the guy a win, for God's sake.
No,
Come on,
no,
people.
fuck
look,
you. Fuck you.
here's
Reptile
my
exists
suggestion.
not to win.
Here's my suggestion. You give him a win in canon, but he dies in all his endings, and you make it, that's the trend, that's the thing.
I just want to go on record as saying I was happy for him, just for a little bit.
That's fair.
He deserves it.
Honk shoe of an ending.
What does that even mean?
It means I'm fucking sleepy.
I've
It's
never heard that.
boring.
I've never heard that
he's-
term before.
He was making snoring noises. I get it.
When you say honk shoe, I'm thinking of a fucking clown walking around. Honk shoe. A shoe which in fact honks.
Good lord.
He is in fact clown shoes.
Alright, it's not rep time anymore. It's time for a Big Mac attack.
True.
I like how I finished that shit with a combo.
With Shao Kahn dead, Ermac was no longer bound to him. Anarchy
Party dance.
erupted within
My mind.
Yeah, no, the power!
the strength of the
That's my Charles Xavier.
chaos. The conflict resolved, Ermac returned to Outworld.
Hey, look at that
With his past,
canon Jared.
Queen Sindel and Princess Katana
That's what he looked like. He was an
Was.
old bald man.
trapped among
Yep.
the many spirits within Ermac was their husband and father, King Jared. would never be the Jared they once knew. Ermac would forever serve and protect his queen and the Edenian people.
So, I think most of us liked this ending when it came out,
When-
and we're disappointed that they didn't do anything with it until MK12 when it's way too late to care.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I have always loved the idea of Jared existing within Ermac as a concept, and it is a damn shame that it took so long for anything to come of it.
Yeah,
And that-
it only gets to be acknowledged in a universe none of us have an attachment to.
Even when they do it, it's executed very, very poorly.
Yeah, I'm not
Where
okay with
it's not even like cool. It's not even a revelation, really.
It
doesn't
happens.
matter.
It happens in almost the same moment that he's fucking introduced as a character, and you've got the shape-shifting face and the white skin, and it's just aesthetically none of it is Ermac. Like, you want him to still be Ermac, you just want them to acknowledge that this personality is a piece of him, and that every once in a while he'll have a meaningful interaction with Sindel or Katana. That's what you want. You want him to still be Ermac at the end of the day. And there is, like, the people who don't like that ending have a valid concern that if they acknowledge the Jared in him, that they will gradually make him less and less like Ermac and more just Jared. And I get that.
It is a damned shame that Ermac in MK12 appears to speak using one massive voice raised in tone above all others. That was a mistake.
Yeah. I mean, part of that is that the audio mixing and the way Ermac's voice is done in general isn't quite as, like, I feel like they've gotten a little lazy with it, where it had more layers and was more nuanced in 9 and
Absolutely.
maybe even X. It was all right in X, voice-wise. But I think, like, just the main concern of, like, Ermac's character traits physically, like his visuals in general, from MKX on, have been gotten watered down and less like Ermac to begin with. So to also pile the Jared stuff on top of that now, it's not just too little too late. It's another drop in the bucket away from what Ermac should look like. So I get why it would bother people. I think it's actually quite easy to have Ermac still be Ermac and acknowledge the Jared in him. The same way that you can have Noob Saibot still be Noob Saibot and talk about how he used to be Bihan without some idiot restoring him to Bihan. Because Noob Saibot is the character you want. That's the good that's the appealing version of that character. I shouldn't use the word good, because then you good and evil. And
people get confused.
Yeah, you want him to be evil. You want him to eat the best noob is evil noob.
I will say for the record that among my many problems with MK12, I was glad to see them acknowledge the connection and have him have that moment with Katana. That was nice. It is like you said, though. It is a bit too little, too late, and 5 houses down and to the left.
Yeah,
block,
the other problem is
it's
that...
not even too little, too late. It's just done terribly. It's barely even a moment.
Well, here's the real thing, is that in 12, Jared has moments with his family, but they're all given to Melina, because that game is about making Melina the main character of her family and the good person in that universe.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's awful.
Yeah, that's like, he doesn't have any meaningful interactions with Katana because Katana's barely a character in that story.
Am I just putting Katana there mentally? Is he talking to Melina the entire way through?
I mean, she's around when they're in, like, group shots.
She
doesn't really have any meaningful dialogue.
Maybe remembering Sindel, then I don't know.
Yeah, he has some stuff with Sindel.
Isn't it executed like he's breaking through when it should be that they let him take control? That's how it should be done. Yeah, that's the thing.
Like a properly written Ermac, like the first step is he has to be free of Shao Kahn, or in that game's case, Quan Chi. Like, whoever created him has to not be in control of him before any of his personalities to really emerge. The second thing is that once you have an Ermac in that state, an Ermac with free will who gets to choose his own destiny, the way he should work is the souls inside him need to reach a consensus and sometimes pick a spokesperson from within them. He needs to function like Legion in Mass Effect 2 in order to be a properly written Ermac.
I see what you did there. Choosing his destiny.
Yeah.
I see it. I approve. The answer is Master 2, by the way.
All right, go straight to the end.
Straight.
You like it hard mode, that's not... I pick whatever tower Jade's not at the beginning of.
No, you want Jade at the beginning, because when it's like she's 3 or 4 up there, then it's worse.
Look, any amount of Jade anywhere in the tower is not appealing to me. Because that's how you lose.
I think I'll just throw this fireball. Nope, that was a mistake, and now 43% of my life bar is gone.
That's how it works.
Shall we?
Let's continue.
Oh, yeah. We're in 2
That's
now.
what you get.
Want some fries with that whoop ass?
Yeah.
Never gets old.
Get some. Sucker.
Got some exploding to do.
After the invasion was thwarted, many of Jax's
Yeah! My metal muscles are so big. I worked so hard for these guns.
2 tickets to the Bazooka Show.
Navigating its virtual reality interface, Jax inadvertently accessed Kano's brain through his optical
We're
laser
back.
implant.
We're doing this.
Linked, Jax virtually battled Kano. Finally, he captured and quarantined Kano's consciousness within the Special Forces main.
This feels so early to mid 2000s.
It's
That
Certainly
was
did
something.
happen.
That was something.
That's just the Kano version tells the complete story, and the Jax version only tells the first half of the story.
It's the Jarek MK4 ending, but then the Jax ending
Yeah.
happens on top of it. He just comes along. That's what you get, thud. And that's all there is to it.
I feel like if you're gonna tell the same story in 2 endings, then one of them should not repeat the information that's in the other, because that makes the other one redundant.
Resource management and asset reuse. This is how we roll. This is how we've rolled for years.
Yeah.
That's part and parcel of it, I'd wager. Hat trick time?
Fucking Kung Lao, man.
Yeah,
Imagine
this
him
one,
winning. Imagine him winning.
You will never see this happen again.
Not even once.
See, here comes the one where it's like, I get what you're trying to do, but...
Kung Lao had avenged his ancestor's death and saved Earth.
Oh, he suddenly cares about that, does he?
In quiet reflection with Raiden at the grave of the great Kung Lao, he touched the modest stone marker. Images of past events, moments of someone else's life flashed through his mind, concluding with a lost battle against Goro. Raiden theorized that Kung Lao had unlocked memories of his past life. The Kung Lao that stood before Raiden was in fact the reincarnation of the great Kung Lao,
Oh boy.
who had been defeated by Goro 500 years ago. He had accomplished in the present what he could not in the past.
Alright, so the problem with this premise
I was wondering if you were going to say it or if I had to say it.
is that it's a major part of the story, at least in the old timeline, that when Great Kung Lao was beaten, Shang Tsung stole his soul. You can't reincarnate if someone has your soul already.
You know, I mean...
That's how reincarnation works. It's your soul reborn in a new body.
The most generous I can be as well, I can say,
Like there
You know,
there are
like-
major parts of the old plot that hinge entirely on the fact that Shang stole Great Kung Lao's soul, so he knows things that the Great Kung Lao knew, like Shaolin secrets, like that they have the map to Shinnok's amulet in mythologies.
Let me say, you know, it's not an exact science. There's no metaphysics, and I'm not trying to defend it here, where you can say, you know, A to B in terms of how reincarnation works, but it is commonly accepted, yes, how someone is reincarnated is that their soul is literally reborn in another one's body. And that's the problem. It's
the basic foundational tenet of the afterlife, including reincarnation, is that it's the story of where your soul goes when you die.
These guys
If
just...
Shang stole his soul, he doesn't get an afterlife. He doesn't get to be reborn. We know where his soul is. It's spoken for.
And they kept on doing it at MK11, and he had it, and he kept saying it as a... These motherfuckers forgot to read the MK1 comic. They just...
The core tenet of Shang Tsung, the center of his personality, the reason he controls the tournament is specifically so that he can steal the souls of people when they lose and die. That's the whole reason he does everything he does, is to steal souls.
I'm so tired. God, I'm so tired. And I don't know whether I'm tired because we've had this conversation over and over, and it is as mind-bogglingly stupid now as it was in 2011 when we first saw it. I think my exact reaction was, that's not how this works.
Yeah.
That's not how any of this works.
It's just amazing to watch the guys in control of this miss the most basic parts of the characters.
And they want you to go, no, look, it's a cool idea because, see, it was one Kung Lao, that's not the Kung... No, I don't care. Shut up. The original guy was like fucking 7.5 feet tall, huge, bald, gigantic, buff as hell, and he didn't throw around a fucking hat. It doesn't work like that. You can't say it's a reincarnation because they have the same name. You're stupid. That's stupid. This doesn't work. Why are you stupid?
It does, like, even if the premise, even if we didn't know what happened to Great Kung Lao's soul in it, that it makes reincarnation impossible. The idea of the two Kung Laos being the same person specifically exists to prevent someone from making a playable Great Kung Lao. And the thing you want is for Great Kung Lao to one day be playable because he will have different moves and, like, character archetype than the Kung Lao we already have, and that will be interesting. And they're trying to remove that possibility the same way, like, we know where Bihan is. He's Noob Saibot now. We don't have to bring him back because he's already back. We know where Jared is. He's in Ermac. We don't have to make him a character because he's already a character. If you're going to do that to the Great Kung Lao, you're fucking us. You're taking away something.
You know, I really didn't
We want to one day play as Great Kung Lao because the idea of a 7-foot-tall buff monk with, like, I don't know, he's be a grappler or a heavy hitter of some kind could be a cool moveset that would be very different from Skinny Hat Man who does Wing Chun.
You know, and to being 100% fair, like, Mortal Kombat Conquest did this too, the TV series. Like, it gave him that hat in that first episode.
Yes.
So it's not like NRS are the first to mess that up.
Threshold did not like the idea of there being two characters named Kung Lao. They thought it would confuse the audience, and I can see why they'd think that. Also, they thought Kung Lao and Liu Kang being in the same story would be redundant. Their characters are too similar, and I can see why they would think that. And their solution was to never have present-day Kung Lao, and to only do Great Kung Lao, and to give Great Kung Lao all of present-day Kung Lao's stuff.
Well, it's understandable on one hand, it's also a little bit insulting on the other.
The part of me that understands it is the part of me that doesn't like Kung Lao and is tired of him being in everything but always losing and always, like, being, like, a redundant second fiddle to Liu Kang. Like, I do feel that way about the character and the way he's used in stories, so I can see why Threshold predicted that could happen back in 1995.
I also didn't want to say anything about it because, you know, the gesture was something that I appreciated. Seeing the Great Kung Lao at the end of MK11's story mode was a nice little touch. But even so, just looking at him, I was like, that's not the 7-foot-tall, big buff guy I remember.
Yeah.
And while we're here, where the hell was he fighting Goro in that ending just now? Were they in hell? Was it the armory?
It looked like it kind of looked to me like one of the cave rooms, like the secret room with the 2 bells in Shaolin Monks.
Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I always imagined that happened in the fucking courtyard.
Well, it happens in the courtyard in the comic, yes, but I think they were trying to do a version of Goro's lair.
Always be courtyard to me.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we?
What?
Feel the wrath.
Ah! I still love COD screams.
There's a few of these where he's in the middle of taunting, and I'm like, yep, I gotta do it right here.
Shokan and Centaur alike were enraged that Baraka, Shao Kahn's trusted enforcer, had turned on their master and killed him just as Earthrealm was within their grasp.
Why would he do such a
Their
thing?
anger turned to admiration as the lifeless body of Shao Kahn transformed into that of the treacherous sorcerer Shang Tsung. Shang had attempted to claim the realm for himself by posing as Shao Kahn. The deception had not fooled Baraka. He had recognized Shang Tsung's scent and torn out his throat.
I do like how they never forget that Baraka has a heightened sense of smell.
And Venom's tongue, apparently.
Yeah, that's weird. But I guess Melina started doing that shit with her tongue in the more recent games.
So that was pretty fucking cool, I think, actually.
Yeah, my favorite thing about it is that last shot with the more Tarkatans behind him, and each one of them has a different and unique design.
Yep.
Which was like the first time in the entire series that we ever got Tarkatans that didn't just look like repeated Baraka assets.
There was a female Tarkatan back there too.
She had like an animal skull for a helmet, and she has X-23 claws. I like the one with the big horns to his right.
It's very it's very the Marauder from Doom Eternal.
Can't unsee it now. Very true.
I like the one with the mutton chops in the far right.
Oh yeah. He looks
more Tarkatans with beards. I want to see more of that shit.
He looks kind of simian to me, a little ape-like.
I can see him using some. That would be an idea, wouldn't it? Like an Outworld Tarkatan take on monkey style. I would watch that. That would be really cool. Can't say much to like, I don't know, Hoodie McRed Hood over there on the left. Is that a Tarkatan? It's hard to tell. I'm assuming so.
I'm assuming it's Tarkatan because it's in this group, but it could also pass for like a...
I don't know. I
see a shadow priest in a sleeveless shirt.
I see lips. I don't see any teeth there.
No, that's a blotch of shadow. His face is just painted very in the background.
No,
so
I can see it. He's fucking smirking.
That's the shadow. That's a shadow.
It's a hired goon.
I don't know. I see a nose and a...
Yeah, you see the suggestion of a nose because they painted the shadows in the shape of a face.
No, you're wrong. That's not a Tarkatan.
Okay.
Moving on then.
One.
The Tarkatans replaced the Centaur as the Emperor's favored race.
Oh, the Centaurs are his favored race? When did that happen in MK9?
Off screen.
Clearly.
Like so much.
Kitana had ended Shao Kahn's life for his betrayal. She had discovered the truth about Melina, but rather than slay her as well, she took pity on her half-sister. She offered Melina a home within the Edenian aristocracy. She was, after all, of royal blood. Melina
Yeah, like
cautiously
75% maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the portal. Remember the portal, you guys?
The what?
A fighting force dedicated to bringing justice to the realms. Never again.
Oh, I get it. I
I
get this reference to a TV show from what, the early 70s?
They did this shit in Armageddon too.
Oh yeah, this is like the third time they did it.
They love their Charlie's Angels tribute endings over and over
Jesus.
and over.
They did it 3 times in a row, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Armageddon, and then again in versus DC, and then again here. 3 in a row.
You know, well, to talk about something a bit more interesting, I was saying earlier that I had a real hard fucking time buying the notion of any kind of redeeming storyline for any villain. With Melina, it's situational, because I believe that it ultimately wouldn't work, believe it me.
Yeah, like it's too deep in her personality that like she has like animal instincts that would drive her to violence that she can't control.
Yeah, like it would end terribly either way. But I've always kind of like wondered about the possibility, like, if I could really sit back and like rewrite some parts of Armageddon or whatnot, I would maybe have Kitana give Melina one last chance and try to like ruin all the right all the wrongs and say, I'm sorry I stuck you in a dungeon for a bunch of years, I didn't really understand you, I was afraid of you, you're a horrible perverted mirror image of me, I feel violated whenever I look at you. It would be too late by that point, but
well,
I think that there's a possibility that they could give it a shot, even though I believe it would also end absolutely horribly.
I do feel like the idea, like among the villains, obviously there's like 2, Melina and Reptile, are both sort of villains of circumstance who have sad, tragic backstories, and you could see how if someone just gave them like the affection or whatever that they're missing, you could turn them around. That's definitely like if there were any 2 villains that could be redeemed, those are the 2. The way I've always seen it is that the reason Kitana put her in a dungeon from the end of MK4 until the beginning of Deception, instead of killing her a second time, because she does canonically kill her in MK2 and Shinnok brings her back in 3 and 4. The reason she sticks her in a dungeon that time is not just because, well, I already killed you once, so I know it won't take. It's because she wanted to maybe
Attempt to rehabilitate her.
Rehabilitation. So I always sort of imagined that, Kitana would visit the dungeon from time to time and try to, talk some sense into Melina.
Yeah, that's how I imagined it too, yeah.
Like, I don't think she just dumped her in a hole and forgot about her. That doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, perfectly fair. So, Charlie's Angels. Next up.
Yeah.
Can you guess?
Well, probably Melina.
Look at the big brain on Razor. Look at that swing and a miss.
Melina killed the Emperor in a fit of deranged fury. But she was unaware that her victory resulted from Shang Tsung's designs. He had imbued Melina with the ability to drain Shao Kahn's dark magic, rendering him vulnerable.
Did he now?
Now Shang Tsung
Yeah, that never came up
execute the next phase
before or since.
Yeah.
Melina and take Shao Kahn's power for himself. But Melina instinctively wielded her new dark power against the sorcerer. Shang Tsung's end came quickly. Melina absorbed his soul, multiplying her strength. She then set out to claim an even bigger prize, the soul of a thunder god.
And that's why you don't give your creations the power to defeat you, too.
It's a bit like Sonia's dad, isn't it? It's like, well, this never came up before. It's never come up since. It'll never come up again.
Yeah,
It's
you
just-
know, the funny thing is...
They really just wanted to give her a win of some sort, you know?
If you did an ending like that back in, like, MK2 or 3, then to this day we'd be saying Melina has that power. Like, even though the endings don't come true, if you make a statement about what they can do and what happened in their backstory, that part was always true.
I mean,
Stuff like this kind of violates that rule.
there is the whole notion about her being able to read Katana's mind that they brought up a couple of times in like 3 and 4.
Yeah,
and,
but
like, that never ever came up ever again. I
think the thing is
I
that...
look at that as being quietly dropped.
Yeah, but it was quietly dropped because Tobias left. Like,
Yeah.
it was true to him and Vogel didn't want to use it, is basically what happened there.
Possibly. But I mean, it would have been nice to actually see that reflected in their endings somehow. Anywho, moving on. Completing the trifecta.
This is, I think, the most important ending in this entire game,
God.
for better and for worse.
Shao Kahn was defeated, but the intense battle rendered Jade unconscious. She slipped into a dreamlike state and found herself walking in an
I like that they
unknown
took the
realm.
effort to have her pass out.
She explored, her soul
Yeah, I do like that some of these have, like, a custom animation
approached a lone
that's
figure who stood
fitting what happens.
I think they're all different.
Well, yeah, but most of them are just posing and showing off.
but spoke with an air of regal authority. Through the minds of countless mortals, the woman had been watching events as they unfolded over the centuries. She informed Jade that Shao Kahn's death was an outcome that must be reimagined. Jade was defenseless as the woman possessed her body and emerged in the waking world.
So the reason I call this the most important ending in the game is because, first of all, every single arcade ending in this game is non-canon. Now that they have a story mode, what happens at the end of the story mode is the only thing that's canon, and they treat all the arcade endings as goofy what-ifs. But this particular ending actually carries forward into an arcade ending in MKX. In Katana's MKX ending, Katana, who is a revenant in that game, is visited by a possessed Jade with glowing blue eyes. And that possessed Jade shows her what the timeline would have looked like if Raiden hadn't done the "he must win" message. And they both realize that if Raiden hadn't fucked things up, Katana would have killed Shao Kahn and saved the realms. So the timeline would have continued forward. And neither of them would have, died during the invasion and become revenants. And that ending was intended by Brian Chard at the time to be canon. Because that's why Jade's not on the MKX roster and is the only revenant who does not appear as an NPC in story mode. When the game came out, everybody was like, where's Jade? She's the only revenant who's not showing up. And they all had their, various theories and headcanons about what happened to Jade off screen. Where did she go? And the answer, as revealed in Katana's arcade ending, is that Revenant Jade had been possessed by whoever this lady was, and this lady wanted to form a group to beat up Raiden and fix the timeline. Now, Brian Chard quit NRS after making MKX. And Sean Kittleson and Dom Chiancholo were not a part of his plans that were in these endings and involved Jade. So MK11 says, no, Jade's still a Revenant. She's around. She just wasn't on camera that whole game. And they make up their own time lady. Like, Kronika has nothing to do with that hooded woman in the Blue Crystal Realm that we just saw. She was come up with completely separately. And the reason we know that she was come up with completely separately and has nothing to do with this ending is because the original plan for Kronika was to be a male villain. He was going to be Kronos, the Greek titan of time. And somebody said, wouldn't it be more interesting if the villain was female? So they changed Kronos to Kronika, and they made Geras to be the male guy who would have Kronos' move set, because they still wanted somebody playable who would do all the hourglass sand stuff. And that lady is so much more of an interesting idea than what we got from Kronika. And it's so incredibly disappointing, the road not taken here.
You're forgetting one important detail.
And what's that?
What was it that Kittle said when asked who the hooded lady was?
Yes. He said that in his headcanon, the hooded lady is Jade's mom. And there are two problems with that. The first is that in Jade's backstory, given in MK9 and repeated again in her 11 bio on the MK11 website, is that when Edenia was conquered by Outworld, Jade's parents were nobles who deliberately gave their daughter to Shao Kahn as a gift, sold her off into slavery so that Shao Kahn would not kill them and let them keep their land and titles. So Jade's parents are rich aristocrat villains. Not some good lady who lives in the realm of dreams and can see through other people's eyes with psychic powers and knows the past and future and what was supposed to happen and wants to change it. It's just not possible for them to be the same person. Also, the lady in that ending clearly had blue skin. I know there are people who argue she might not because the lighting in that area is blue, but if you really look at the way it's painted, you can tell that it's blue light and a bluish green skin tone. She does not have a human skin color, and she was probably intended to be some kind of goddess or dweller of the realm of dreams. So Sean Kittleson doesn't know what he's fucking talking about, and he's just like trying to make up headcanon connections like a fan would, you know? He's writing bad fanfic.
I remember, like, the first comic I read after Jason Todd came back in 2005 was this issue of Nightwing that featured Jason coming back and talking with Dick Grayson and shit, and the author decided to take this triumphant return of Jason to the DC Universe and celebrate it by turning him into a giant squid monster that ate people. That's what the Mortal Kombat storyline has been since 2011. Next character.
Oh yeah. All of the worst parts of comics, all of the problems that come with a universe that's shared between multiple writers, and sometimes those writers don't agree with each other or know each other's plans or care and just want to do their own thing. All of those problems are what's wrong with Mortal Kombat now. It's the exact same situation.
I'm playing Street Fighter 6 World Tour at the moment, and I can't get enough of it, and I just had a lovely little text back and forth with Ryu where he confided in me that he's scared of spiders. That's a fucking detail from a Masami Kanzaki manga from Street Fighter 2 from the mid-fucking-90s. And people have been joking for years that Ryu is scared of spiders, but it's not really canon. And SF6 just goes and plucks that from out of history and goes, why not?
Yeah, that's canon. Why wouldn't it be?
You know what that is? That's care.
What that is that the people who work at Capcom are fans and are passionate and actually know the lore of their own franchise. The one that they're working on. The one that they're paid to make good for the audience, the paying people to get their money's worth.
Next character.
That's the difference between making art and making product. All right? People who make art fucking care. Next character.
It's nice to play a game again where people care.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't give a shit about Street Fighter. You know, I wasn't really a fighting game guy. I was just a Mortal Kombat guy. But the longer MK goes on, the more it pushes me towards other fighting games and away from itself.
I'm finding a love for the old series I haven't had in years. But hey, this is cool.
Khan's violent death shook the very core of Smoke's being and dislodged his earliest memories. Tomas Rabada was only a boy when he was abducted by an obscure cult and sacrificed to a demon. Burned alive, he returned to the mortal realm as an Anenra, a creature of smoke and vapor. His captors were helpless against his shapeless form as he lashed out with rage, killing them all. His murder avenged, he returned to his human form, remembering nothing of his former life. Now aware of his true identity, Smoke understands he is no mere assassin. His destiny has been revealed.
So,
Best ending in the game.
That is, yes.
Free. Absolutely free. We're talking about care and effort put into things. This. Oh my god. I love this so much.
So as we were just talking about with Melina's ending, when you use an ending to reveal backstory, that part's always canon. Except when, I guess, Melina has the power to steal souls and kill Shao Kahn and Shang Tsung. Because this Anenra backstory... So first of all, Smoke was never given a proper origin story for his powers. Really, there was no exploration of his past identity anywhere in the old timeline games. We didn't know his real name. We just knew he's a Lin Kuei. And he has these vapor powers, and then he's turned into a cyber ninja. And this is the first time that they gave him one. So even though it's a reboot, it feels natural that you backport, oh, he's Tomas Verbata from Prague, and he was sacrificed by a cult, and he's actually a demon who thinks he's a human because he has amnesia. It makes sense for that to also have been true in MK2 and 3 and Deception and Armageddon. So this is one of the most useful pieces of lore in this entire game, because it also applies to previous game. And you can't say that about a lot in MK9. You can say that about a few things, like this game was also the first time we got the Sub-Zero brothers' real names, Bi-Han and Kuai Liang.
There's Jade's bio that tells us about her parents.
Yes, how she ended up in Shao Kahn's service.
There's the fact that Sector's the Grandmaster's son.
That's true. That's the first time we got that.
This game does do a whole lot for a lot of characters, and I do appreciate that.
It has some stuff. Yes.
It's 50-50. It's like, on the one hand, you have the Smoke endings, on the other hand, you have the Kung Lao endings.
Yeah. But this is one of the good ones, and I appreciate that MKX in particular does sort of carry it forward and acknowledge it as a true story. The only problem with how MKX did it, other than the fact that Smoke wasn't playable in X and 11, so you don't really get to explore how finding out that he's actually a demon who's been living the life of a dead boy. We don't see how he actually responds to that. What we do get is just him going, Smoke is dead, I am Anenra. Not Anenra.
I am Anenra.
I am as if it's his new name, which is like Morgan Ainsland going,
Morgan
my name is no
dead.
longer Morgan.
I am Succubus.
I am Succubus. And then her health bar says Succubus for the rest of the series.
That's always pissed me off.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's
so
dumb.
And like, for some reason, people have actually taken that as his name and not recognized it
There are fans.
As
there
a
are
fucking
fans.
typo.
there are fans who don't get that it's the name of a species, not a proper name, and they just call him an Enra now. And no, man,
You know,
that's
it
not
should
how that works.
that should have been a fucking meme. Like 2 panels. Smoke is dead. I am X. Smoke is dead. I am Iron Man. Smoke is dead. I am. I said I want to get next to you. Just like this needs to start happening.
I would love that.
Oh god. But you know what? No, just
I did make a meme. It's a picture of Sindel saying, "Sindel is dead. I am wife."
oh man. But you know what? Going back to
find
just
that on my Twitter somewhere.
appreciating the fucking like the way that this ending, all that it gives us and reveals to us about him, ties back so well into like him going ape shit in the Deception ending where he's back in hell.
Yeah,
He's in
it
Ashura's.
ties so well into Deception. It's
It
so
feels-
amazing
it
how
feels
well
seamless
it
and flawless.
fits. Like the original Deception story was Noob Saibot, when he takes Cyber Smoke to hell, Cyber Smoke starts glitching out because the evil energies of the Netherrealm corrupt his technology, and his nanites transform his body into Nano Smoke, which is a cyber demon. And there wasn't really an explanation for why they did that, other than evil energies of the Netherrealm corrupt stuff. But if you fucking backport his backstory, Deception is the first time Smoke's ever been to the Netherrealm. So it makes sense that when he gets there, even though he's a cyborg now, so the part of him that's still organic recognizes that it has come home and awakens.
That ending also does say, it speculates that there's still good left in him because good people can't exist in the Netherrealm. But it can be both. I think both work.
Well, so here's the thing. Like, yes, he's biologically a demon, but thanks to the amnesia, he has lived his whole life as a human and Kuai Liang's best friend and a good person. So his personality won't change if he discovers his true nature. He might have some conflict about it, but Serena is the same way. She is born a demon, but she's one of the good guys, and she struggles with that dichotomy. And that's what makes Serena such an interesting character. And it would make Smoke an interesting character, too.
Truly one of the best we ever got.
Yeah, that's a great ending, and I just wish they did more with it. In fact, here's a fucking question. If MK12 was like, yes, let's use the Jared stuff with Ermac, why did it not do the same with Smoke? Why'd they change his fucking backstory?
Because they hate you. They don't like cool things.
Yes, that's the answer. That is, in fact, the answer. They don't like cool things.
They hate you and they want you dead.
Noob Saibot time.
Yeah.
Quan Chi should never have resurrected Noob Saibot, nor should he have enhanced his power to defeat Shao Kahn. The Revenant he created...
Dylan, you son of a bitch!
had secretly formed an understanding with a cleric from the realm of chaos, and opened for him a portal to the Netherrealm. Shinnok, Quan Chi, and the Brotherhood of Shadow were unprepared as the forces of chaos overwhelmed
Look at
them.
that smug jackass.
I really like how Havoc is painted here.
It's
how
so good.
The skull features are blended more into the face features, so he even has, like, empty sockets with the giant eyeballs, like there's no eyelids.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he's a creature out of, like, Spawn or something. It looks really good.
Yeah. It's probably my favorite depiction of Havoc, visually speaking.
So that whole ending is tits, and I love it.
It's just nice to see Havoc, you know? It's just nice to see Havoc.
The first couple sentences are like, he maybe shouldn't have, given him the power to defeat Shao Kahn. And yeah, like that's a bit of a callback to Noob's trilogy shit, where it's like he was gonna like turn against the winner anyway, you know? He's still playing both sides, and I like that bit of continuity. I'm a big fan of this ending.
Boy, who could have seen coming that if you gave Noob Saibot more power, he'd use it to turn on you? Who could have imagined?
Look at this badass motherfucker. Look at him. It's just... And people want this to be redeemed? Fuck you.
No,
Yeah.
this is peak Noob. This is what the appeal of the character is. Bihan fucking sucks. Noob Saibot's the best Bihan.
Perfected. Don't laugh at me.
Who's laughing now, motherfucker?
So I did go
Not
through all
Nightwolf.
these on
He doesn't
like...
have a sense of humor.
No. I did go all through all these on beginner just to like make it easy.
Yeah.
Shao Kahn's got a nasty habit of taunting at the worst times for him.
Took all of Nightwolf's power to destroy Shao Kahn.
Classic
His
Khan.
spirit guide, the wolf, had aided him in the battle, but in the aftermath, its presence was no longer felt. Nightwolf returned to his home, seeking the Elder's help in reconnecting to the spirit world. During their ritual, his wolf returned to him, changed. Shao Kahn had tethered his soul to the wolf spirit in order to cheat death. Now corrupted with Shao Kahn's evil, Nightwolf has transformed into his animality, his bite converting his victim.
Is he feeling it?
He's about to.
I think he might be feeling it, you guys.
Khan will conquer Rome, one mortal at a time.
That one's not really so much Nightwolf's fault, really.
I guess not,
But
but
it's
it's
just
yet
like-
another things go bad for Nightwolf ending.
Why, though?
I think they just really wanted to do a werewolf.
Like, Stryker's supposed to be the O'Brien of the series, not Nightwolf. I mean, any
Well-
reference to an animality is something I can appreciate.
Now, here's my question.
Do you think it was deliberate? Do you think they were snickering when they were making this?
They look,
Absolutely.
There is no person on Earth who would write the word animality into something, like make the word canon, who's not having fun and laughing about it. It just doesn't happen that way.
They knew exactly what they were doing, and I applaud them for it.
That word is inherently a joke, and you cannot treat it as anything but.
They have canonized that word and its meaning by using it
Yeah.
in this ending, as far as I'm concerned.
Here's my question: is if you've got the idea of, oh, what if Nightwolf was like tainted with evil and became a werewolf? Why wouldn't you use that for his Revenant form in the next game?
God, imagine. I mean, Revenant Nightwolf was
wouldn't that
pretty
have been
goddamn...
neat?
Yeah, but Revenant
Like,
Nightwolf
even
was
if-
probably the best looking one in 11, I'll say that for free.
Yeah, in 11, but like he's so fucking boring in X, and he has so little screen time. Wouldn't it have just been a neat visual if the NPC Nightwolf in the background of scenes was a werewolf?
Or at least a little bit more feral, fanged, creepy looking.
I would appreciate it. I think it would be it's just the Revenant designs, particularly in X, are so boring and all the same. You know, it's just they're all
Yeah.
gray skinned with glowing veins. It would have been the right thing to do to make each of them a unique type of monster or undead, because Scorpion is a unique type of undead, Noob Saibot is a unique type of undead. Why are the rest not?
I agree, it would have been cool. Shall we?
Let's continue. What if you had a gun?
What if? That's how that entire round went, by the way.
You just shot him.
Yeah,
Nothing but
I
shot.
just stand back. That was all it was.
Good.
And it worked. Now we get a really good one.
Despite telling the world that he was simply doing his job,
I do like this one.
made a hero
This one's fun.
Earth from invasion.
I love that little nuts there.
Key to the
Yeah.
His head is so big.
medal of
Big head mode.
It's a bit large.
Paparazzi
Don't worry about it.
every move. His biography spent a year on the bestseller list.
They pay for that.
I want one! I want an action figure!
But when approached by Hollywood for the rights to his story,
It's our cotton autopsy. The boy with
Reptile
future vision
man.
predicts horrific future for mankind. Nobody will leave their home.
I'm just gonna leave it on this frame because, oh my god, it's great. Oh,
New
You know,
Striker video game prompts congressional hearings.
everything here is a treasure. Everything.
The only
fucking-
reason. Well, here's a question.
Reptile is Bat Boy, okay? That's what
Yeah.
that's what they're doing. It's so fucking good.
Well, here's the thing. So if they were making a biographical, like a true story movie about how Stryker won the invasion, and the only reason Stryker rejected it was because he didn't want Johnny to play him in the movie. Johnny Cage is part of those events. Why doesn't he play himself? Are you stupid, Johnny? Just
I mean, clearly you get Jean-Claude Van Damme to play the main hero.
Johnny cannot stand not being the lead in a film. He will not play supporting cast. It's against the rules.
But look how sad he is.
And that's fucked yourself out of a role, buddy.
I love this whole ending. It's magnificent.
I think the boy with future vision was right. I think that's legit.
Nobody will leave their home.
It sounds like COVID.
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Also, we are living a horrifying future right now. If you predicted a horrifying future back in 2011, you would have been correct.
Where's my Tarkatan autopsy video? Damn it!
Not a tabloid, that's just news.
That punched the spine. It's like there were more hits than usual.
victory over Shao
Your
Kahn
air tube is dangling.
Oh yeah.
Cabal
Can't breathe, look at him.
was badly damaged, and if it was not repaired soon, he would surely die.
Look, just plug the hose back in, dude.
From him the identity of the cyberneticist who developed Kano's eye laser. The good doctor was not easy to find, but he was more than eager to help for a price. Now Cabal is rebuilt. He is better than he was before. Stronger, faster.
He's...
In order to repay
How much did these augments cost? I'm gonna guess about
$6 million?
$6 million.
$6 million. On the
You
nose.
guys. Fuck you guys.
That's a show just as old as Charlie's Angels.
Smokeman, if you're editing this thing, you have to get that sound and put it in here right now.
Fine.
Okay, so what do we think about the good doctor and his Frankenstein construction?
So obviously, the cyberneticist doctor is a real character in canon. Like, it was acknowledged back in Deadly Alliance that whoever did Kano's eye, the same person did Suhao's heart. So he's not like directly affiliated with any particular gang. He's just like some black market doctor that multiple people hire.
He's good at what he does.
Yeah. So he is a character who we've never seen until now and who still doesn't have a name. And I do wish that they would fill more of that out.
And once again, we haven't seen him since.
Yeah, no, this was the last time he would be mentioned in a game.
Again, though, it does beg the question, why hasn't Cabal just had this done? Is he happy with what he has on the regular?
Well, I imagine, like, because old timeline Cabal spent the gap between 3 and Deception, like, as a street vigilante, like a Punisher type, which when you're killing criminals, you yourself will be wanted by the law. So it makes it a little harder to scrape the money together to pay for $6 million in cybernetics.
Yeah, that's fair. He's probably not eating all that well, running from the law and all that.
Also, visually, I don't know about this design. I think the arms are a little much.
There seems to be a lot more adherent play than just respiratory fixes.
Yeah. He's got limbs. He's got his whole neck and shoulders. There's some on his leg. He don't need all that. Like, if you wanted an excuse to streamline his helmet and make the mask look more futuristic, and maybe not have the hose sticking out as such an obvious weak spot for people to attack, you could justify it that way. I just think that's as far as I would go. He doesn't need bionic arms like Jax.
This is a little bit heavy metal in terms of design.
Too much.
I am hearing Queensryche playing. You like that shit.
Oh god, white Cyrax.
Is he white or is it like muscle structure? I don't know.
No, that's his forehead skin.
You think?
It's
we're about to see it.
That's his skin.
I think it's reused the same texture that Sector has, and they forgot to change the color. Because even if you try to excuse it as like, well, if the flesh is like dying or not exposed to the sun, it will get like really pale. A pale black guy still looks black.
These guys don't look like Lin Kuei.
No, those are Tarkatans.
Are they?
I see arm blades.
Cyrax was offered sanctuary at the Wuxi Academy, where he has begun a new life as an honorable warrior for peace.
Now that part of his ending I don't really like, because
it feels like it has more in common with, like...
Feels a little random.
So here's the problem. They did that because they were trying to connect it to his new backstory and personality in this game, where he's like driven by honor and belief in the power of chi, which all of those things clash with his character because he doesn't have magical powers. He doesn't actually use chi to fight. He uses tools and gadgets. He throws a net at people, and he has these like alchemy bottles of whatever smoke bomb chemical he's mixed together. You know, he's a Batman type before he gets cyberized. So all of the like mystical martial arts in his personality that they tried to add to him in 9 do not fit the character. So ending up with the Shaolin doesn't work for Cyrax for me. It's just that's not the direction I like. The thing about I am extremely a fan of what the old timeline did with Cyrax when he broke free of the Lin Kuei, where he joined the Special Forces and he hangs out with Sonya and Jax.
See, I think that's
because they can improve his technology or restore parts of him because they have the resources to, say, like, clone new organs or grow some kind of artificial skin for him. They can do things for him to improve his quality of life, and they can give him missions and purpose that fit his character archetype. So I am against anything Cyrax that doesn't put him with the Special Forces.
I was gonna say, I think that's that simple, really. I think that it was
Yeah.
literally a case of, what did we do last time? Well, he wound up with the Special Forces. Let's give him somewhere different to go this time to be different.
Yeah. I don't think a lot different to be different.
I don't think that a lot of thought particularly went into it. I don't particularly mind Cyrax, I don't know, having a bit more resistance to the idea of being converted than he did originally, but I still have the opinion that he went along with it. Anyway, not the best ending, also not the worst, just kind of eh.
Yeah, it feels like filler, like they didn't know what to do with the character.
Yeah. More Cyrax. Just
And I
kidding.
mean, not
Sector
not
out of
knowing-
nowhere.
Was this tag mode?
This was tag mode.
Okay. But yeah, it feels like not knowing what to do with Cyrax was the theme of the NRS era.
Sector had dedicated his life to the Lin Kuei. His victories had brought honor to his father, the Grand Master. He had proven himself worthy. It was time to replace his father.
Logically.
In a bold attack, Sector smashed through a company of Lin Kuei guards as he pushed toward the Grand Master's chamber. There he found his father waiting. The Grand Master warned him that wearing the Dragon Medallion brought much power, but
So-
at a cost.
I want to point out that the art for the Grandmaster here
Father,
is a recolor of Mythology Shinnok.
the medallion.
Yeah, you're right.
Finally,
So, you know, if you pull up that concept art and you pause on the screen where where the Grandmaster's standing there and you look at it, you can tell it's the same fucking outfit. They just changed the colors.
Yeah, it's not actually Mythology's Grandmaster.
It's Shinnok. Yeah.
That's fine.
Now, the other thing I want to point out is that this is the last time in a game, in any Mortal Kombat game, that the Dragon Medallion is ever mentioned.
Yep, we just forgot about it after this,
What
didn't we?
the fuck?
It's just
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, like he has a medallion. Sub-Zero has a medallion in his Grandmaster variation, but it's a Lin Kuei logo, and it has nothing to do with enhancing his powers. It's not mentioned in story. It's just visual, and it doesn't have a fucking dragon on it.
I guess they thought we've done that plot device before. Shame.
Another thing I'll mention is that this actually does make a lot of sense. That like so. When Sector takes the medallion from the Grandmaster dies, and the medallion like consumes his soul. So in Deadly Alliance, there's this unspoken hint that when Sub-Zero put the medallion on for the first time, it sped up his age. Because he looks way older in Deadly Alliance than he does in previous games, and no other character looks older. So it's not a passage of time thing. It's the medallion aged him up at the same time that it increased his powers. And we didn't really, like, there was no text explaining that in the 3D era games. It's purely, like, visual and theory stuff. So this ending finally explains what's going on. How does the Dragon Medallion increase someone's superpowers? By feeding on souls.
There we go. And I do want to say, I like the slight, very subtle detail there that his dad's waiting for him. He's not running. He's not like, sending the Lin Kuei guards to stop this abomination that's coming after him. He's like, oh, it's time. All right. Do this if you're going to do this, but, here's a little warning for you. And I appreciate that, because that feels right to me.
Like, he knows it's coming. He expects it.
Yeah.
And he's ready for it. He loses, but he.
I made you to be this, is I think the message there.
The other thing I would point out is, first of all, this ending is canon. Like, it does happen. And then MKX says, and then Sub-Zero showed up and beat Sector. And both of those things also happened in the old timeline. The only difference is, in the old timeline, we didn't know that Sector was the Grandmaster's son, and Sector didn't choose to overthrow him. He overthrew him because he was damaged and
malfunctioning.
You could argue that the malfunction was him getting his free will back.
Next up. Crunch.
Shiva had recognized the signs. Her people were out of favor and in decline. The Centaur would soon dominate Shao Kahn's forces, while the Shokan would move inexorably toward extinction.
Boy, that sounds familiar.
Act of defiance.
Like, all this stuff with the centaurs and the Shokan is happening behind the scenes, sort
Yeah,
of.
they just
It's just not important
anything-
at all to the main story.
anything to avoid putting centaurs into the story mode cutscenes.
Shiva secured for
2 legs good, 4 legs bad.
Australia. In return, they would protect Earthrealm from future invasions. For her leadership,
Boy, Australia looks an awful lot like the tower, doesn't it?
Little bit! Now, I believe this one's canon as well, according to 11.
No,
I
They-
seem
they
to
definitely-
remember them.
No, the Shokan definitely don't live in Australia.
Well, she's a queen of something.
Well,
I
that
remember
happened
that.
in the MKX comic. The MKX comic has Kotal Khan getting into a fight with Goro and cutting off his arms, and so King Gorbak attacks to avenge him and gets killed. So the Shokan have to appoint a new king, and the way they do it is by holding a competition, like a fighting tournament. Whoever the strongest is will get to be king, and Shiva won the tournament. And this is mentioned nowhere in MKX the game, because MKX the game had a different plan for Goro and the Shokan.
I feel like
And it's
most
one-
people probably saw
it's-
this, then saw MK11
yeah.
and went, and probably assumed that this was canon then, because I forget.
Well,
I really do.
the thing is that, again, Sean Kittleson, the writer of the comic, became one of the 2 writers on MK11. So starting with 11, he goes, yeah, parts of my comic did happen. Goro did fight Kotal, and they mention it in the story, and that's why Shiva's the queen.
Well, fair enough. Not a bad idea. I don't mind it so much. I'll take an Australia covering Shokan.
It is interesting that they picked Australia.
It is a home to incredibly deadly creatures. Why not? They'd be right at home there.
Yeah, I don't think the Shokan would have quite as many problems with drop bears and giant spiders and the
Feels
dreaded
like home.
wallaby.
I like how Earth just went, we'll give you Australia. We'll just
Yeah, you can just have
relocate
it.
everyone else. Just whatever. Take the
Yeah,
outback.
What about the Australians? What about them? Fuck them.
The spell that bewitched Queen Sindel had been broken. She did battle with Shao Kahn and slew him.
Why are her arms green?
Suffering he brought upon her
I don't
and
know.
millions of others throughout the realm.
Doesn't even match what's happening here. There's just no reason for the green mist.
Found Edenia
I am Shira. Sorry.
The many races of Outworld were impressed. Not only had Sindel defeated Shao Kahn, but she had shown great leadership in chaotic times. They willingly offered
Ugh.
her their allegiance.
What?
Under Sindel's governance,
The animation of her landing was
It's a
really
bit
bad.
rough.
Yeah, so wait. So she splits Outworld and Edenia, but then the Outworlders agree to follow her anyway?
I mean, why not?
It just
I
seems
am-
like it's
I
a little
am-
hard to
I-
hard to have 2 separate kingdoms at the same time. Maybe they should find someone else to lead them and let Edenia do its own thing.
I have nothing to say about this.
I
I
mean,
it's very basic. It's as expected. It's nice to see like Sindel be good in her ending because
It
she
is.
didn't get
It
the
really
spell broken
is.
in story mode.
and we've had an Edenia Outworld skirmishes happening before in Deadly Alliance. We've had like an Outworld incursion force and Kitana aligned with Goro, so I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I guess the one thing that I don't really like about that ending is just the idea that Sindel is a sorcerer and has power on her own to separate the 2 realms. Because this is the first game where, Sindel casts spells was part of her character. Like in previous games, she was just a fighter, and all of her special moves come from being undead. When she was raised in MK3, she came back with the powers of a banshee because a banshee is a type of undead, like a specter or a wraith. So the idea that she was a sorcerer all along, it doesn't fit to me. And I don't like, because it's another part of the attempts to give her power buffs that continue on into 11, where they start saying, oh, Sindel's the most powerful. If we want to beat Cetrion, the Elder God, we need her help. That's not how Sindel works, man. Deception said that before she married Jared, she was one of the knights. She's a spear fighter. She uses the Guandao.
I don't object to the idea of maybe having Sindel have a bunch of scrolls with a bunch of arcane knowledge, and Deception's ending with her, although non-canon as it is, shows us that she's good at reading old signs and sigils and shit. I don't object to that part, but I am a little bit tired of constantly pushing Sindel for SummerSlam. All I'll say.
Yeah. Like, at least say she found the orb. Like, make that reference to Natara's lore and stuff. Like, the idea that she just used her incredible powers to split them with a beam of magic. How do you do that?
Let's keep going.
Put a Kamidogu in her hands or something. Make it make sense.
Put a Wule to your face, and your spine, and your face.
Wait, is this the... You did Quan Chi before the DLC?
Quan Chi and Cyber were the last.
There's still Rain and Scarlet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, where's Rain?
He's coming. I did the DLC last.
If you were doing them by game order, Rain's an MK3 character and Quan Chi's an MK4 character.
I do what I want.
All right.
I techno-syndromed this bitch.
Well, why didn't you want to do that?
Quan Chi stole their souls and remade them to serve his master.
Yes, Revenants. We saw it. We know it already happened in story mode.
Shinnok repaid Quan Chi's
Armageddon outfit.
Ordering his execution, thereby eliminating a possible challenger to
I get what happened to I give you the gift of your existence?
Yeah, what the fuck?
He's a bit meaner this time through.
Oh look, Khan's wearing that outfit he doesn't wear in the game.
God damn it.
Shao Kahn as his enforcer. Quan Chi struck down the Brotherhood of Shadow and Shinnok.
Wow, killing Shinnok changed his skin color.
No one, not even a god.
He is a bit tan, isn't he?
Okay, so as we would learn in MKX, Quan Chi can't resurrect Shao Kahn as a revenant. Because whatever the Elder Gods did when they killed him, I don't know, they have his soul? His soul's not in the Netherrealm. It's not, Quan Chi can't access it.
I really feel certain that 9 just destroys Shao Kahn completely. Disintegrates him. That's how I always looked at it.
Well, whatever they did to him, he can't be resurrected. He cannot be a revenant. In fact, it certainly appears as though Quan Chi has been trying to make a Shao Kahn revenant, and that's what the animation happening in his like study is. Because in the
That's
pool
a big
of
boy
blood,
back there.
there's a huge guy coming out of the blood pool who hasn't grown skin yet, and it's unfinished, and it never gets finished. Presumably, because Quan is trying to make Shao Kahn but can't because he doesn't have a soul. I find that interesting in the context of this ending. That's all.
So, silly.
Quan Chi looks
but cool
really,
looking.
really grumpy here.
It's like he's trying to be. He's trying to be badass, but he's just really thinking that they fucked up his order at McDee's.
He's like waiting in line in Starbucks, and
Like,
the
why
guy
is he
in front
having-
of him is taking too long.
Why is he having such a bad time? He just took over the Netherrealm.
I asked for 2 sugars. Wule!
I would have maybe put a big smile on his face because he just won, you know?
Oh fuck!
Yeah. I also just wanted to get this
Oh yeah,
over
this
with,
one
too.
this one is fucking great because it's not goddamn finished. The developers ran out of time.
Yeah, see, I also thought that this would be a really weird one to end on. That's another part of my decision as I'm remembering
The
it
problem
now.
is this isn't the last one. We're not ending here.
No, we're not. I did this on purpose.
Okay. it's so quiet.
The
I
quiet
wonder
wants to
what-
make it unsettling.
what did
But
they
it's-
mean by this. Oh,
Oh.
oh, I see. He has bad breath.
Halitosis is a bitch.
Cyber sub is very stinky.
Subs with Ritson. 2 subs in 1. Pressure
Blurry.
breath.
So, somebody do something about the resolution. It's too blurry. Oh, now I get it. I mean, it's clear from the pictures what's happening. Was it really too hard to just come up with some filler text?
I think they just ran out of time.
Just,
You know,
how
I
last minute
do-
can you be that you can't write 3 sentences?
I do wonder, in that
These endings-
complete
These endings aren't long.
in that complete edition that contained the boss endings, was there any like unused text for this? Or
As
anything
far
like
as
that?
I'm aware, no.
No, even in the complete edition, where you can data mine the endings for Goro and Kintaro and Shao Kahn,
Yeah, I talked
there's-
about that.
there's still no text for the cyber sub ending.
One really wonders.
But yeah, well, you get it, right? He kills Shao Kahn, but Shao Kahn possesses him, so now he is Shao Kahn. Whatever.
Did they say that this is unfinished? That they didn't have the time?
Nobody has ever spoken about it. And I don't imagine they would ever admit, like, oh, we just didn't have time to finish it.
I seem to remember. I don't know if it was anyone talking about it or.
I mean,
or
the thing is,
maybe
if
it was
you,
some speculation that they wanted to do like something like Reiko's ending in 4.
no,
That's just
that's
weird.
definitely not. No, that's cope. That's cope. The what you could if you could get a hold of Brian Chard, I'm sure he would tell you, because he's not the type to not say things in order to try and like not burn bridges. He already burned those bridges when he left NRS. He gave an interview that was not particularly kind to them.
Right.
So if somebody did ask him, I'm sure he'd explain, but nobody ever thought to ask him during that interview or since. I guess it's just nobody cares enough about why did Cyber Sub have such an unfinished ending. It didn't occur to them. They forgot.
Man, the cybernetic samurai skirt looks really bad.
I'm just gonna go ahead and pause at that.
It kind of looks like a dress.
I think they just wanted to do a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cyber Shredder reference. That's
Yeah.
all that this is.
It does kind of look like Shredder. I kind of like the upper button, like the shoulder pads and the helmet and the chest. They're all right. It just his hips look like a girl's dress.
Yeah. I was
His-
about to
his-
say,
his
why
proportions are
his
very
hips
slender.
slutty?
Not slutty.
Yeah,
they're,
well,
they're
that's-
just slender.
Yeah, that's a thing about like
He's got a
even
real hourglass figure. Is what he's got.
the thing that always bothered me is that the cyber sub in the game, base cyber sub, his waist is so thin he looks kind of feminine. Like he does kind of have like a girlish hourglass almost build, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Because you like it. Now I have a better question. You put this up against Cyber Cabal from the ending we just witnessed.
Mhm.
Whose punches generate the harshest guitar riffs? All right, moving on.
I feel like Cabal is Cookie Monster vocals, and this Shao Kahn is a bit more melodic 80s metal.
I can dig it.
This it's a bit Frazetta, you know?
Little.
Shao Kahn had used rain to crush the Edenian resistance, but had not granted him an army. For this betrayal, Rain drowned the Emperor in his own blood.
That's not what just
Little
happened.
vindictive.
Rain for eliminating the Emperor and saving Earthrealm. His heroics were befitting of a son of Argus. Rain's lost heritage was a revelation to him.
The statue doesn't look like Argus to me.
That really doesn't look like
No.
anyone.
Like, where's the beard? Why is he in armor?
Was his by right.
Oh, look, I see myself.
What was that weird thing on his back?
Was clear.
I don't know.
He would use Shao Kahn's army to rule not just Outworld, but all the realms. To Raiden's surprise and horror,
Surprise, huh?
his target is
Oh my god.
Look at Stryker getting ripped in half back there.
Is that Stryker?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
Stryker.
yeah, it is.
Man,
That's a school bus up there, man.
Raiden fucked up so bad.
you didn't see this coming. The reason Rain overthrew Shao Kahn is because his ego is so great that he couldn't stand Kahn not giving him more soldiers to command. In fact, Rain's backstory in this game is the reason he betrays Edenia and joins Shao Kahn is because Edenia won't give him, like, he won't put any of the resistance under his command, won't let him be a captain. And Shao Kahn says, if you join my army, I'll let you be a captain. I'll give you soldiers. Like, that's his whole thing. Raiden did not see that this guy might be a bad guy coming. Couldn't have imagined that. Couldn't have predicted it.
It is a really
that's really fucking embarrassing.
little bit.
Here's another thought that I would like to put forward, is that, obviously, Raiden in this game cannot know this about Dagon. Although, actually, the Red Dragons are active in Earthrealm. That's where they hang out. And Dagon's in charge of them, and Raiden is a god, so he should know about the Red Dragons, because he's supposed to be smarter than he is in this game. So Raiden should be somewhat aware that 2 out of 3 sons of Argus are bad guys. Maybe Argus was a bad dad. Maybe just trusting someone because they're related to Argus is a poor idea.
Also, you know, Taven's not even awake yet, so he could still be a bad guy.
Yeah, for all Raiden
Yep.
knows. There's no proof yet, from his point of view, that Taven turned out all right.
It is a good ending for Rain, though. We can say that much.
It's
It
a good
is
ending for Rain.
It
It's
is
not.
magnificent.
It's not a great ending for Stryker. Or those school kids.
Those poor school kids. See, though, this is why I like Rain. He's an irredeemable, selfish, arrogant piece of shit. That's how I love my guys. Like, you want to talk about people I don't ever want to see redeemed? This guy's number 1 on my fucking list. Well, maybe number 2 after Noob.
Rain is fun because he's a douchebag. It's true.
He is a piece of shit, and I love that he's a piece of shit. Oh, glorious. Bitch, no. What was that slap to the ass just now?
She just backhanded him in the ass cheeks. Yeah.
controlled by Quan Chi's sorcery. Scarlet attacked and destroyed Shao Kahn. As Quan Chi's magic
I fucked up.
subsided, she realized her
Oh.
unwitting role
Oh
in the
shit.
plot to bring
I better get out of here.
just exit stage right, whistling gently.
Scarlet absorbed his immense strength. She used this newfound power against Quan Chi. Brotherhood of Shadow Warriors raced to defend.
This is a lot of animation for one of these endings.
This
Yeah.
is objectively really cool. And hey, panty shot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the upskirt.
They really wanted to
Oh yeah.
make Scarlet's debut as memorable as possible. They put a ton of effort into her, and it really shows.
Yeah. Scarlet shows the most skin by far.
Awaiting Shao Kahn's rebirth.
So that was pretty fucking objectively cool, I'd say.
I like it.
God, I wish MK9 Scarlet was canon.
She still is,
Like,
as far as
all-
I'm concerned.
all
That's-
the elements of it, the maid in a lab, the fact that she's made of blood and absorbs blood. She's not just a person who uses it as an ingredient in magic. That she's a T-1000 of blood. That's the coolest fucking thing about her.
Ermac is where the souls went.
Yeah.
Scarlet is where the flesh went.
Ermac is a construct of souls, and Scarlet is a construct of blood, and that's the cool thing. And then like even the part about Quan Chi like controlling her. If I was going to use Scarlet and introduce her into like a version of the old timeline, like that's what I would use to explain where she's been since MK2, why she's only a part of the like she's a secret character in 2 because Khan usually keeps her like locked up because he's afraid if she gets too much blood on her, she'll grow too powerful and he'll not be able to control her. So normally he keeps her like away in like some kind of some stasis in a dungeon.
She's a ball of blood magically asleep somewhere.
And he only uses her for like, you know, really secret missions or like when he really needs like his most powerful warrior or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like so where she's been since then is like, well, Quan Chi was, you know, he was working with Khan during Trilogy, but he was also trying to like backstab Khan and get resources for Shinnok. He took Scarlet. That's what I'd do with it.
Makes sense. Works.
Because that's the other thing. Like, what is Scarlet doing during this game? Why is she not really part of any of the tournaments? Like, she has these little cameos in story mode, but you never fight her or nothing because of she wasn't released yet. Their explanation is that Scarlet's mission is to keep an eye on Quan and Noob because Shao Kahn is working with them but doesn't completely trust them. As well, he shouldn't.
That is an excellent little revisit of the old trilogy bios. Because it makes fucking sense that, like, I know that these people are not to be trusted. I have my own super assassins, thank you very much. Which fits in perfectly.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the right way to use her. The wrong way to use her is Shao Kahn adopting orphans off the street.
Orphans. Everyone's a goddamn orphan.
Damn.
Fudge it like that.
Get fucked.
It's official. Fist to the mouth from across the stage.
Talk shit, get hit.
Psychically.
Guided by Sento, his ancestral sword, Kenshi destroyed Shao Kahn and saved Earthrealm from Armageddon. But he had not yet exacted revenge on Shang Tsung.
I like that when his mask rips, you can see his eye underneath.
It is a good touch.
Because,
allowed Kenshi access to a newly developed portal that
oh, really?
Look at the tech.
in return, Kenshi agreed to serve
You know, this all sounds very familiar.
investigation agency.
Little bit.
Oh, the Outer World Investigation Agency, huh?
Yeah.
Shang Tsung.
You know, it's almost like the content of this ending is taken directly from the actual backstory of Deadly Alliance.
Little bit.
Tsung, a withered husk. His vendetta fulfilled. Kenshi
Except that Kenshi never actually successfully killed Shang.
and powerless.
Look at that miserable ass tree right there.
Yeah.
That tree
But yeah,
is sad.
One of the things about Kenshi is that in like most media, most of the canon stuff anyway, he has eyes. They're just blind. You know, they're like burnt. So they look cataracted and you can't see out of them. But they're still in the sockets in his head.
Yeah.
And then there's media like Legacy and MK12 where they were burnt out or stabbed out and he has empty eye sockets. And I am not comfortable with that. First of all, it doesn't look as cool. Second, it's just gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
It looks much better when he has like white eyes behind the blindfold.
It does. It's cooler.
Yeah.
Blank eyes in MK have been a thing forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And blindness is as good a reason as any.
Also, like they're cataracts, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
like,
because he's
that-
fucking blind.
You look like that when you're blind.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But of course, it's all about the gore and the blow. Ugh. It's the same reason Jax's arms get ripped. Anyway, you know what? That's it. We're done.
Right, that was the last one.
It was.
That was MK9, everybody.
It's finished.
There's still MKX for us to play, so we're not completely out of good Mortal Kombat content.
I think.
But I think I would like to. I can't promise this because I haven't tested it yet. But my intention for our next LP is to figure out if I can emulate versus DC.
Oh Jesus!
Because it won't take that long to play through. And, you know, just to go back before we go forward puts a little more time on the clock before we run out of stuff.
Also, like you say that, but there's 2 story modes we need to play.
Yeah, but they're half as long because there's 2.
Well, Razor, all I can say is I'm glad you're going to test that out and play it.
Yeah, I would be the one on the buttons. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, thank fuck for that.
Now, obviously, if I can't get it working, that's not what we'll be doing next. So I'm not making any promises to the viewer, but we're going to look into it. We're going to try. If we can't get that working, then the next game will be MKX.
Which you also said you wanted to be on the controls for.
I need to buy that on Steam, so
all right.
Haven't done so yet. But yes, I would like to be the one playing X because there are quick time events in X, and if you succeed at them, the outcome is different than if you don't. And I like some of the if you don'ts better, so I want to like play around with what I think is the most visually interesting way for those to go.
Fair enough. Thus Vidania MK9. It was a lot of fun, and for all of its faults, it was the last of something special.
Yeah, for all of its faults, it was the second to last time that Mortal Kombat would feel like Mortal Kombat.
In some ways, I think a lot of it ended here.
A lot of it did. Like, X is not perfect. But yeah, you will be missed. See you later, nerds.
Have a nice day.
Oh, well.